Hi, Jason.
Hi, how are you guys
Great.
today?
Terrific.
Yeah, great discussion. I just want to put in my 2 cents on trade deadline talk. I don't think Danny should do anything. I think he should show restraint. I don't think he should make any deal. I think he should continue to build through the draft, see what's out there during the off season. They have $30 million in cap space. They can sign someone like a Blake Griffin and add, to their talent pool. I'm not a big fan of Jimmy Butler, to be perfectly honest.
Can I ask you, Jay, can you explain why you don't like him?
I think he'd be about the 4th or 5th best player on the Warriors. I don't think he's elevated the Bulls up above a mediocre team. He's had trouble getting along with teammates. He's had trouble getting along with coaches.
Oh, with Rajon Rondo? Who hasn't had trouble getting along with Rajon Rondo?
Derrick Rose as well.
Oh, another guy who has had issue with Derrick Rose in his career. You have two guys who have pissed off players everywhere they've gone.
Citizens of the year.
Jeez, the list is shorter of guys who have not gotten in arguments with Rondo and Derrick Rose.
Hey, Jason.
Why can't he elevate his team?
Hey, Jason,
elevate the Bulls.
Jason, I think that Danny Ainge should be patient in this deal because there's no need. He's not under the gun to do it at 3 o'clock today, even though a lot of the green teamers are putting him under the gun at 3 o'clock today. Now let's get to the second part of what you're saying. I do not believe it makes any sense for the Boston Celtics, who are deep into the rebuilding effort now. They're probably 75% into it now. They don't need to take 19, 20-year-old players that are going to take 4 years to develop in the NBA. They don't need to do that. They're going to have to eventually use the assets, use the chips, the commodities that Danny Ainge has smartly built up and make moves. Push the chips across the table. I just don't think at 3 o'clock today, with a gun to my head, it makes any sense for him to do a foolish deal.
Okay, I mean, that's a great point. I think, you've got the cap space to be able to add another big piece, a veteran piece.
Yeah, but the piece has got to fit, and it's got to fit with what you're doing right now.
All right, so if it's not, you got to help me out here, Glenn, because you keep saying don't want to overpay. We all agree you don't want to overpay today. What's the overpay for Jimmy Butler? Because you like the player. You think he's a good player. Do you think you want a wing player? Paul George, wing player, good player, might be available according to Woj. We'll see. What's not overpaying? I guess is my question. You keep talking about overpaying. If it's one Brooklyn pick and some players, and we don't know what players those are, I get it. Is that overpaying for Paul George or Jimmy Butler?
You tell me, you put a deal together, and I'll tell you whether I think it's a fair deal or not. Yeah. But we don't know what deal has been presented. I just think when you're up against the gun here, and you're the impatient one, and you're playing chicken, and you're the one that suddenly gives in and throws the towel in, you end up losing. Yeah. I don't think there's any need for them to do it at 3 o'clock today. They're not going to be a much better team tomorrow, where they're going to be able to compete for a championship in 2017. You're building for 18, 19, and 20. That's what you're doing. So what difference does it make if you make the deal today or you make the deal on draft day? Matter of fact,
the difference is that deal might not be available.
And it might be better.
Top 15
it might be a much better deal.
How much better is it going to be? It's still a top 15 player. Those guys always cost an arm and a leg, Glenn. The cost for Jimmy Butler is not going to change a lot between now and then. These guys all cost a lot.
It could change a lot. You don't know that. They have, as this last caller said, they've got tons of flexibility. Okay?
They're pliable. They still haven't won a playoff series under Brad Stevens.
Okay, I get all of that. But they're not going to win many playoff series this year, even if they had Jimmy Butler. This idea that
they can be with Jimmy Butler, they can go to the Eastern Conference Finals, Glenn.
You're going to take away probably 3 players that are on your team right now, Mutt. You're going to take away 3 players. So you're going to take away. You don't think the loss of Crowder is going to be a factor?
I've drawn a line through Crowder because Jimmy Butler is a better player than Jay Crowder
yes,
is.
In the long run, you have a much better roster. But it doesn't necessarily translate in 25, 30 days. And that's what you're expecting to happen right now. You're going to see it. Let's see what happens in New Orleans. They're 2 games out of the playoff picture right now, right? They're a better team because Sacramento are just dopes. Okay, and the owner got all excited to get Buddy Hield, right? So, but it may not translate right away. You got to build a whole system.
But no one is saying they're going to be a championship team in New Orleans this year. right? That's
No,
not.
they're going to make the playoffs.
They're
They don't make the
further away
playoffs.
than the Celtics are from
If they
being a
don't-
championship.
No,
team.
we're not talking about championship. They have to make the playoffs. They're
Sure.
out of the playoff
Yeah,
picture.
well,
right now.
Sacramento's now. I just don't see how that. How are those two
They're
connected?
going to have to go 17. They're going to have to go 17-8 to make the playoffs.
In the final 25
Yep.
games.
They'll have to go something like that.
But is that they weren't dealing to make the playoffs this year, were they? I mean, that was more about getting the
That's why
player,
New Orleans made the
DeMarcus
move.
Cousins. Well, they also want DeMarcus Cousins. They want a star player, and they got him for a price they felt was
You only
an
have him
okay
for another
price.
year, and then he can go.
And you probably will test free agency. You're right.
See,
But also a chance to sell
think
him
it's-
now on staying in New Orleans.
I think it's vastly overblown. Did you make a deal right now? It's not like a baseball team where you take a pitcher and he can pitch against anybody or a batter who can, if he's hitting 350 and he's got 35 bombs, he's going to hit it the next place he goes to. You're incorporating a player within a system that has already been established. It doesn't happen overnight. And as I told you, you don't, in this time of the year, you don't have practice. You don't have opportunities to sit down for 2 hours and start teaching these guys.
All right, here we
It's
go.
a
Another
difficult
road street.
assignment.
Here we go. Update on Boston, Indy. Boston still has not met Indiana's asking price on Paul George, but the Nets pick has entered the conversation now, sources say.
Again, I found it hard to believe that the Nets pick did not enter the conversation.
I know.
From the beginning.
Wait, this is good. So, 10 minutes ago, it had not entered the pick. So
Suddenly on the line.
Danny's like, "Oh, I just saw that Woj tweet. You want that? Oh, we can talk about that pick now."
Larry said, "You know what? I just updated.
Oh.
I googled this draft thing. I just noticed you've got the Brooklyn pick this year. Is there any way we could have that
A
one?"
trade machine. I noticed this. It's now available.
I'm not buying it.
Ooh, Paul George in the mix.
TJ's in Fall River. Hi, TJ.
Woj.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, TJ.
I've heard a couple people say.
I got another one. Hold on. Put TJ on hold for a
TJ,
second.
hold on one second.